There's growing optimism that Uganda's economy would grow beyond the earlier projected 6%. And much of this optimism is anchored on the good days in the agriculture sector and, of course, the macroeconomic stability. This is Money and Markets. I'm Charles Boyd, your host. Welcome.
Coming up on Money and Markets.
Coffee is Uganda's single biggest crop export. In fact, in the early days of Uganda, coffee used to be the biggest forex earner for this country. Today, we seem to be headed in that direction, with many inroads and many developments in favor of that particular stance of state of affairs. We pick the mind of the head of the Coffee Promotion Institution, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, to find out what this sector portends for the wider economy of Uganda. Sir, it's nice to have you with us here. Now, give us a digest about what is happening at UCDA.
Many good things happening now. I start with the tail end of the story. I've just completed the study on domestic coffee consumption, and we see a big shift. Many Ugandans are drinking coffee. Many of them are now appreciating the brewed cappuccinos, the latte, the good coffees, and we see more appreciation of the coffee. Many coffee shops coming up, but importantly, many youth coming in through the barista system, through the coffee clubs. We have expanded, brought in most of the universities are now forming coffee clubs. We also see many youth actually coming and demanding for seedlings to plant coffee, and importantly, more professionals like you. We also see the production, of course, the figures going up. We jumped 1 million bags from 16, 17. And we are seeing a good rip also this year. We project moving from 4.5 to 5.1 million bags. We see the weather has been good. We see the production figures going up, and the price has been a bit disappointing. We had from September last year, the price was going down, but it's now slowly picking up.
I know that UCDA has put a lot of support in the barista activities. Why are you doing that? What are you looking at?
Barista is a very interesting aspect in domestic coffee consumption. To look at countries like Brazil, when the prices went down in 2001, 2002, the way the country responded to that was actually starting drinking their own coffee. So they pushed the domestic coffee consumption through training the youth, training people to make a good cup of coffee. We see the same thing happening in Ethiopia. They are drinking a lot of coffee. But it's not just drinking, it's just actually, instead of exporting the dollars, so to say, you keep the dollars here, you drink your own coffee, and therefore it stabilizes the economy. More money is returned here than exporting the green beans. The other aspect of it is that the barista is an employment. We are always carrying out these barista trainings, and then we do competitions, champions. For your information, our national champion went on to participate in the Amsterdam World Barista Champions. That's where the visibility for the country, the visibility of our coffees come in, and therefore the roasters and other people start getting interest, visibility for the country. But importantly also, it's a source of employment. Most of our baristas who get to that level, they get jobs in big hotels in London, Dubai, and therefore it's another kind of vocational employment. Many people are not looking at as coffee as it was only for the farmers.
Try to break for us the kind of support you get from development partners, because I know you don't work alone. There are others who are contributing to this.
API was one of the first development partners to actually give us a lot of strong support directly through the Center for Robusta Excellence project, where we are actually describing Uganda as the home of Robusta coffee, describing the origins, characterizing the coffees we have, producing some standards for the coffee, but also developing the Robusta and fine coffees standards. We came up with some ready farmers. We have been training them on how to improve the quality, improve on the production methods, and ultimately make a good price. We saw a group of farmers improving their quality and actually starting to export. And that's, of course, the strong hand the ABI partnership brought to UCDA. But also there was an international perspective, because they brought in partners from top institutions like the CTI, which is a well-known center for training in the United States, which is well-known in name. What meant was that they helped us to develop some standards for Robusta. It also helped us to train the ARA and Q graders. Those are people who are well known. If you have ARA graders, those are for Arabica, and the Q graders for rather Q for Arabica, ARA for Robusta. You have a good standing in the industry. People will respect you because they know how you can differentiate these coffees, makes the visibility for the coffees to have a good premium, and therefore CTI has been very, very useful to us, and thanks to the partnership with the ABI. But also indirectly, ABI support. They've been supporting gradually in their portfolio. They've been supporting the coffee industry, and therefore even when it is not direct support to UCDA, they've supported some coffee cooperatives. They have supported the infrastructure with some big companies, and therefore it has all been again to UCDA.
I understand that UCDA has done some good work in promoting replanting of coffee, or provision of seedlings and stamping, regenerating, the gardens. How is this contributing to the 20 million bags, and how close are we to that target?
Increasing volumes is one aspect. We are doing much more than looking at the volumes. We are also looking at the quality. But looking at the replanting in itself, this was a directive from His Excellency in 2014, which at that time was looking at 20 million bags by 2020. We have since realized that, of course, the timing and the resources, the logistics around it, the new target His Excellency has set is 20 million bags by 2025. We think we are moving there. The volumes are jumping up, but we are going to see a big leap with all the assumptions held constant. 2020, 2021. That's when we are going to see a jump towards around 18 million bags. Then, because much of the planting has been done, 2014 we started off low because we didn't have good certified seed gardens. We didn't have more organized farmers, but we saw the big leap coming in terms of reaching the annual target by 2017 is when we started seeing the farmers planting more, and also the nursery operators. But that's about expansion of land, and land is, of course, is limited. So what we are doing now is our focus is now coffee rehabilitation, stamping, and you will note that the focus now of our budget and coming budget is looking at stamping, working through farmer organizations, farmer cooperatives, sensitize the farmers, also working with private sector. so that we get youth gangs, the youth mobilized so that they can be involved in the rehabilitation of the coffees, but also the use of fertilizers.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been nice talking to you. Thank you. Uganda has emerged out of a very uncomfortable position, the trade deficit position, to a trade surplus position. The factors driving this scenario are the focus of our next segment.
Uganda has for the first time in many years posted a trade surplus with critical African economies. The development economists say affirms the country's potential in being a regional economic powerhouse. Simply put, the country exported more to those countries than they did sending goods to Uganda.
Actually, if you talk about the trade, our trade with within the region, we have a trade surplus with all countries in the region, whether Rwanda, whether DRC. So overall, we have our big trade surplus.
With Kenya, East Africa's biggest economy, the country in 12 months to October exported goods worth $780 million against imports of about $400 million. This huge leap is anchored on agriculture, which historically is the country's major competitive advantage source.
Because, number one, agricultural productivity has improved, which is one aspect. The economy is quite stable. Inflation is low, exchange rate a bit stable. So all those stimulate manufacturing, and also light manufacturing, which we see being exported in DRC and also in the neighboring countries.
These and other factors like private sector credit expansion, growing domestic demand, and the expanding public infrastructure investment are now driving economic growth optimism. The central bank believes the country could grow higher than 6% projected growth in 2018-2019. But there are risks to this positive outlook, which could also explain why the central bank maintained its benchmark rate for December at 10%.
There are risks to the projected economic growth momentum, including the slow execution of public investment projects, unpredictable weather conditions which could affect agricultural productivity, and the slowdown in global economic growth and global financial uncertainty, which could affect the external position.
It is clear that most of the country's exports are agricultural products, finished and semi-finished. A major issue arising is that Uganda, among other interventions, has to modernize its agriculture and reduce its dependence on nature's providence to sustain its regional competitive advantage and reduce its economic growth risk exposure.
That concludes the first segment of Money and Markets. Stay with us for more.